63% of people will remember stories over your long, drawn-out facts. And that's truth. And if you want to find out more information about that, in this episode, we're going to teach you how you can tell better stories so that those people who are actually listening can remember you and actually do business with you. Ooh, this is going to be good. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another great episode of the Sales Evangelist podcast. I'm your host, Donald C. Kelly, the Sales Evangelist, and I'm so excited for another great episode. I'm so excited to be here with you today. And on this episode, we have a fantastic guest. Man, I'm telling you, stories are a powerful thing. And we're going to have Todd Mitchem teach us how he's doing stories, why stories are so important for sales reps, and most importantly, how we can structure our stories so that they can stand out. He's going to share some ideas, things that I've started to apply, and I know it works, and I would love for you to test it out as well. What's wrong with most salespeople when it comes to stories? If you don't want to paint me that picture when it comes to a typical seller that you see.
Yeah, I think there are a couple things that are sideways. One is they tell stories thinking that the story should maybe be just personal, or it should be used for entertainment purposes or to break the ice. And that's actually not the value of story in sales. To me, stories have the most impact when we are telling them with a purpose in mind. For example, if I'm going to tell a story, and I can even talk about examples throughout this conversation, but I have a client that just did this as the CEO of a hospital, and she had to also help the sales team. So they have to tell stories about their patients, stories about how their patients are impacted by their great service, by the way they service the patient. And so if you were just throwing that story out and weren't thinking about why, then what would happen is it would kind of land flat, it wouldn't make an impact, and it wouldn't get you any closer to a sale.
How do you tell a story like that every time? Because I feel like sometimes, somebody, like a comedian tells a good joke, and then I try to recite that joke, and I'm like, dang, it fall flat. Like, what happened? I'm not sure.
No, I'm not either. But what happens is we're going back to if your job is the salesperson, the number one I would have to ask you, do you actually care about what you're selling? So that's, you've got to have, the best salespeople are the ones that at least can manufacture a feeling that they care about what they're selling, that they actually believe it will make a difference in the prospect's life. I mean, that, or business or company, depending on the product or the service. So that's first, do you care about it? The second piece is, and this is kind of a shortcut for everyone, the story has to be real. It doesn't have to be your story, but it has to be a truthful story. So in other words, I'm not gonna, if I go and work for that hospital, let's say, and I'm gonna be in sales for that rehab hospital, I'm not gonna make up a story. I'm not gonna say, well, this one time, this patient named Julie, I'm not gonna fabricate a story. I'm gonna ask my leader, are there some stories that are real patient stories that I can use? Ones that really where we made a significant impact in the patient's life. I'm gonna ask for stories that are truthful. And this is one of the places where I can see it right away also when I'm teaching someone and they're practicing and they go, well, I've got a great story. And I can tell they're making it up or they have fabricated it in some way because it's not authentic. It's not coming through as an authentic story. It's not impacting anyone because it isn't real. Versus a real story, even if it's not my story, if I love what I'm selling, or at least respect what I'm selling, and I'm telling a story, then it doesn't matter if it's my story. I can say one of our patients did this, and I can practice telling that story. And that would probably be the second piece, is that you have to practice it. You've got to practice the storytelling. If you think you're just gonna wing it in the moment, you'll fail completely every time.
What else do I need to know if I'm a business development rep or account executive when it comes towards these stories? When do I bring in stories in the process?
So I depending on what you're selling. So if you're selling SaaS software, for example, and you've got a pitch meeting, so that's when you're gonna, be there for the first time. You're about to present the software solution to your client. I think stories up front are gonna matter the most. Now there's a reason why, because statistically, we tend to remember what happens at the beginning and the end of a conversation or a presentation or a pitch. So whatever I start with is going to make this massive impact. And so if I start with something weak, Like, hi, my name's Todd. I represent, this company, and I'm so excited to be here today and talk to all of you about our software solution and why we're rated number one. I mean, put me asleep, right?
Yeah.
Versus if I come in and I say, so 58% of our clients last year had this impact. 77% had this impact. 98% re-signed up at the end of the year because of this. If I start like that and then I tell a story about one of my customers, I've got you. I've got you the rest of the time because I leveraged impact at the beginning.
If there's one major piece of advice you'd like a listener listening to this episode, your 30-year-old self back in the days,
Yeah.
what's that one major piece of advice?
Get to the point of why what you're about to do matters to the people that are on the other side. Get to that point. Get your ego out of it. Get how you feel out of it. Get all your arrogance out of it. Get all your quota mindset out of it and just focus on them. What is it that your product, service, or offering is going to do differently that no one else can do? And just start with that.
Love it, man. If folks want to get in touch with you, Todd, to learn about your process, to learn about what you guys do with stories, or to hire you guys, what's the best way for them to go about doing so?
Yeah, so they can if they want to just email me directly, especially if they have questions. It also gives me a sense of who's actually, reaching out. So they just go to todd@ampld.com. It's AMP Learning and Development, todd@ampld.com, and that's how they can get a hold of me. And if they reach out to me personally and email me, toddm@ampld.com. Sorry, toddm@ampld.com. And if they reach out to me personally, I will send them a PDF of what we just talked about so they can have it, they can see it, they can use it as a tool.
Hey, if you haven't done so already, stop sleeping on my boy Todd. You need to go connect with him because he has some good insights, some stuff that can definitely help you and your team. If you want to go ahead and find him, you can find him on LinkedIn. You can also find his information down in the show notes below. Tell him that you heard him on the Sales Evangelist podcast and check out, we have his email address there. Just email him and you get a chance to get that PDF that he talked about. It is good, it is good, it is good, and it's definitely going to benefit you. As always, I share stuff like this because I want you to succeed and thrive. I want you to find more of your ideal customers. I want you to know what to say when you reach out to them. I want you to close more deals, but most importantly, I want you to raise your level of thinking and go out and do big things.